It's No Pasa Nada time, and time to welcome our distinguished guest who started her career as a bartender and successfully transitioned into a top performing real estate agent with hard work, determination, and courage, and such an inspiring story that she's going to share with you all. Cash, can you say your last name?
Cortave.
Cortave, okay, because I was trying to say it in English, I just can't find the ways to...
Cortave.
Cortave.
Yes.
Cortave. I rather say it in Spanish. I'm very excited to hear about your journey and the valuable lessons you learned along the way. Are you ready?
Yes.
A little nervous, but
Yes.
You're good, right?
Yes.
Hey, this platform is for you to share everything and anything you want. Don't hold back. This is all for you.
Okay.
Okay, let's start. Why bartending? And how old were you when you started?
I think I was 24, and I did it because at that time I became a single mom, and I was like, what can I do to be there throughout the day to drop my kids at school, pick them up, but still financially provide for them? And that's what happened. I was waitressing at first, and at the Wings and More where I was waitressing, Amanda taught me how to bartend, and then it just went to nightclubs after that. So I literally worked from like 10 to 3, so the boys never really saw me leave. And when they woke up, I was there to take them to school.
Who would take care of them?
My mom. Yes.
Your mom. How long did you do bartending for?
Like 13, 14 years.
That is a long time.
It is.
Now, your life, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, changed completely. Do you think it was like a 360 change? Because even your whole look, like, you used to have blonde hair, and we're going to share pictures of what you used to look like. Like, you had short hair or longer hair?
It depended. If I had
but it was blonde. It was like
curly,
a blonde,
straight
blonde that
Yep.
you said it before, people would think that you're a stripper.
Yes. Yes.
How did that make you feel, and how did everything change? Like, tell us, how was judging for you? People the judgment towards you.
As a bartender?
Yes.
Well, yes. Sometimes if I took my kids maybe to a birthday party or to an event before, I knew that at night I had to go to work. So my hair was down, bleach blonde. I had a lot of makeup on. You did get judged a lot, like at the football practices and stuff. But I just, look, I'm providing for my kids. You can look at me any way you want. You can I don't really care. And just kept it going, went to work.
You didn't care what people would say about you?
No.
What has been the worst that they told you to your face?
Oh, nothing.
To your face, nothing?
To my face, nothing.
Well, that you've heard.
Just judging me because I have a wife.
Because you used to be married to...
I was never married.
Oh, you were not married.
Nope, we were never married. Actually, ironically, I forced him kind of in a way to propose. So we were engaged. But that's because when I was waitressing, I was pregnant, I think, at 20. And every time somebody would see me, I got pregnant 6 weeks after I had the first one. So as a customer coming in when I was waitressing at Wings and More, they were like, you haven't had the baby yet? And I was like, I'm on number 2. So I got tired of people looking. The first thing they would say is, oh, you're not married yet? So it started I was young. I was like 20. So I told them, you have to propose to me, and forced them. So that didn't work. We were young. We had 2 kids at a very young age, and it didn't work, but I'm glad that it didn't. He's happy, I'm happy, and we've both moved on. And we're really good friends when it comes to the kids. It's awesome co-parenting.
So you became from having a relationship to completely changing your life to a new relationship. How did that happen? And I'm sure there's people out there who've probably had this story before too, that they were with a male, and it went on to something else.
Yes, with my wife. At first, he didn't like it. He thought that I was teaching my kids to live a certain life. I will never force my children to do anything with sports, school, anything that they don't want to do. So he started to respect it when he saw that I was still providing for them. They were still good at school. Their grades were great. They were still performing in sports. So he eventually became okay with it. But I do get questioned a lot from other people like, oh, you're raising your kids to be gay. I'm raising my kids to be who they want to be. And as of now, they're not gay. They're definitely not gay, but it worked out.
How old are they?
15 and 16 and 9 months.
And the 9 months. So you have a little one.
Yes.
Very, very handsome little man. Well, all three of them are actually. And how's your relationship with as a blended family?
It's actually amazing. Thank God. The boys are very respectful sometimes. They respect my wife. Definitely. She respects them. We all get on each other's nerves, but I feel like the baby kind of made us closer because when we get frustrated and you look at him and he smiles, it's like, okay, should I really be mad right now? It's just, he smiles and you're like, okay, life is more than being mad. Let's not be mad. Talk to me instead. So he kind of helped us.
Did he?
Yes, he really did. He's awesome.
So how did it come to have that? This is the one with your
my
wife. Yes, with your wife.
It, as crazy as it sounds, we went on our first date. Originally, I have never had a one night stand still to this day. So originally, she was supposed to be like, you know what, screw it. Let me just have a one night stand real quick. And then she never went away. And I've always had this 3-month rule, like 3 months for everything. And then on 3 months, we just got married.
So legit got married, like here
legally
in Houston,
married.
or did y'all go to Vegas?
No.
You eloped?
Here in Houston, right here at the Pearland Courthouse. Just literally got married.
And you've been married for how long now?
4 years.
Wow, that's
Yep.
amazing. How do you feel?
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. She's fun because you get that like best friend friendship. Like that's my girlfriend, like my
Best
girlfriend,
friend, yeah.
girlfriend, yes. And then that's also my wife. So it's like I can be like, oh my God, bitch, guess what? And then I'm like, babe, can you please go get me water? So it's like 2 in 1.
Now I know you have a very strong character. So how does that work with in a relationship at being married?
It took her a while to get used to that. Sorry. But it's
Why do you say sorry?
because I can be intense at times. But look, I was a single mom for a very long time. When you met me, you knew that this is what it was. Anything that's on social media, for me personally, it's not fake. Like, this really is
who
my
I am.
real life. And you knew that, so you had to accept that. And if you like it, great, then it's going to work. If you don't, well, sorry.
And it is
I'm still me.
Right. And it is my understanding that y'all are business partners too.
Yes. Yes, we have 3 different relationships: business partner, wife, and friends.
How do you separate all 3?
She knows.
It's hard.
In the beginning, I think because I can be pretty strong. So in the beginning, I'm like, look, I'm not talking to you as your wife. I'm talking to you as your business partner. And I don't agree with XYZ. So it took a while for us to get used to that. But I think now that she understands how to work with me and I understand at the end of the day when we lay down, I'll ask her like, hey, did I offend you by saying this? Because I wasn't trying to be offensive. So communication definitely is key. And that did save a lot of arguments. I don't have time, period, one. And I definitely don't have time to argue, especially with my wife. Like, we live together. It's going to be awkward if I come home and we're not talking. Like, that just doesn't work for me.
So you get in a fight and you have to communicate about it, talk about it, and get over it. Or
Yes.
fix it.
Yes, you have to. It's just, I'm very, I can admit that I'm not the first one to start the conversation. But once she even says, hey, I don't stop talking. So yes, communication.
vent.
Yes.
You have to vent. Now tell me, you met her at bartending, right?
Actually, we knew each other through mutual friends.
Oh,
and
okay.
so at that time, we were both in 2 different relationships. And it was just a cordial, hey, how are you doing type thing. And then, yeah.
But you were bartending at the time that you met her. What made you say, I'm going to stop bartending? This is not for me. Or did you say that, or did you slowly transition into
I
real
had
estate?
actually started the transition before we got together. And then I just didn't have time to focus because I was so busy just being mom. So I didn't have time to focus on, okay, I need to take my state test and I need to pass it. So I would try to take it without even reading the book. Of course, I would fail. So then when I got with her, I told her, we cannot be in a relationship if I'm a bartender. Like, it's just not going to work. It's not fair for you. For me, it's my lifestyle, but for you, it's not fair because I'm not available nights, holidays, and weekends. When will we have time to date? You have a day job. I work at night. Like, it's just not going to work. So I ironically passed my real estate exam a couple of months into our relationship. And I do feel like, okay, look, it's a for real. We were married. You have to stop. You have to stop. Take it serious. And it just went from there. So I do feel like her support pushed me to do it because she had a degree and she worked at Exxon. I was like, oh my God, I'm a bartender. She works at Exxon. So I had to do better. So she did encourage me to do better.
That's amazing. And that's what a partner is. They encourage you to be better, and y'all do things together. Y'all are doing this business together. You're growing together. That's amazing. It's the type of power couple that people need.
Yes, actually, yesterday I kind of told her, hey, you need to do better at being on time with work for her day job. We can't. She points out where I start to slack at work and I do it for her. And I did ask her because I did tell her one day, you need to do better. And then the very next day, she put it into play. So I did ask her, did you start to do better because I told you? And she said, yeah, I didn't realize it. So because it, because I see her as a wife and as a friend and as a business partner, I feel like as your friend, I'm telling you, hey, I'm not trying to offend you, but you need to focus. And it works. So she does the same with me.
It's good.
Yes.
Now, how was it when you fully transitioned into real estate?
It was so scary. Because bartending, I've been doing it for so long. People just come. I look at you, I know what you want. You don't even have to open your mouth, and we're done. With real estate, I'm like, how do I go from selling you a drink to selling you a house? How is that going to work? How are you going to trust me? I went from being the reason you're hungover to being the reason why you have assets. How do you take me serious? But it just, thank God it did.
You told me one time a good story of how you got one of your clients, which came from bartending. Do you remember that you would tell him, you're spending all this money in drinks? Can you tell me a little bit about that for us?
Well, that's a lot of people, and I don't think you just get caught up in life because for 11 years, it was the same crowd and you just get caught up in living life. And one day you wake up and like, oh my God, it's been 10 years and I haven't done anything. So for the most part, I know everybody's personal life. I know their jobs. I assume.
How? Because I mean, you're at a bar. How are they even how I don't remember talking to my bartender when I would go to bars or clubs.
Montrose area, I did bartend in the Montrose area. So it's a little different. If you're part of the LGBTQ community, you do kind of stick to that area. So it's not like a straight club. Straight clubs, you kind of knew when's open every other year. In Montrose, it's Montrose, and that's it. So I do feel like because they stick to the community, I was able to get to really know a lot of people on a personal level. I still do. A lot of my clients, it wasn't one, it's a lot, thankfully, have
So tell us,
helped
what
my
did you tell
career.
them? Like, what are you doing? You're wasting your money.
Not in a sense.
I mean, because you are very upfront.
I
O sea, no
am, but
tienes
in a
pelos
nice
en la
way.
lengua tú. No tienes pelos en la lengua, ya
Well,
sabemos.
if somebody says one day, and I'm like, well, why one day? I used to bartend for you. I saw how much you spent a week. That could easily be your mortgage. And so that would open the doors like, seriously? I could? And I'm like, yeah, if you're spending $100 a night at the club, you're going Thursday through Sunday, that's $500 a week, $2,000 a month. You can definitely have a mortgage at that. And so it's not being like, what are you doing? That mom figure, it's kind of like, hey, come on, let's get it together, but in a polite way.
Was it really polite?
Yes, for real. That's really, yes, I don't want to be offensive. So yeah.
Cash, I asked you a question on somebody you didn't want to be, and you said your dad.
Yes.
That's who you most looked up to. But your answer was completely different than what I figured why you would look up to him. What was your answer?
My dad is just not an ideal father. My kids are 15, 16. They've never seen him. A father you typically think of, oh, that's the man of the house. He does this, he does that. No, I think I seen my father up until I was maybe 6, maybe a couple of times after that, because he was asking me for money. So he does have substance abuse problems. He does paint. He feels like he's this person that he's not. And so every time he calls me, he's like, sweetie. My family calls me sweetie. Sweetie, ¿qué onda? And I'm like, what's up, dad? No, es que está acá chingón en Guatemala. Mándame un teléfono. And
Oh, he
I'm like,
doesn't, he's not here in the United
he
States.
got deported. He's not, he should have been deported. From what I know, he hit a woman at 2:00 in the morning. He was drunk. He had all kinds of stuff in his car, 5 socials, 5 IDs, and he tried to leave. It's like, I work at night. That could have been me who got hit. So I couldn't, I couldn't help you. And he's
Drunk
like,
driving.
oh, whatever he was on. And I couldn't help him. He's like, ayúdame, pay for his bond. I'm like, I can't. That could have been me. And that's a lot of my customers at work. Like, I can't be a hypocrite. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. You were never there for me. Why should I help you right now? So it just, yeah.
So he's somebody that you would never want to be.
Absolutely not. Substance abuse, I understand it's tough, but yeah, there was a lot of he kidnapped us from my mom. My mom went crazy. Yes, it was bad as a kid. So
What's the most worst memory that you have from him?
There's two. I don't even know how old he was. I think I was in maybe first grade, and he married somebody who was 19. So maybe he was in his 30s, 40s, and she's 19. Like, she doesn't know anything about two little kids. She's a kid herself. So he would work at that time. He was at the refineries. So he would go to work at the refineries overnight, allegedly, and she would kick us out. And we lived in an older apartment complex. I don't know if you remember them. Underneath the stairs, it had like a little gate thing, and you could put your bikes and stuff, and had a lock. And so she would literally make us sleep under there. She would say, "Get out." And so she would lock the door, and we would get out. It was bad. The only time we would eat in the summers if we went to summer school. So I would tell my sister, "We have to go to school. Let's go. We have to go eat breakfast." And we would walk across the street to the school to go eat.
And you never told him?
Yeah, but he just said, "Nah, es que no es así. Es que estaba limpiando la casa." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, we're supposed to be asleep right now and not sleeping under stairs. So whatever." It was bad.
If there's something you could tell your dad right now, what would that be?
Nothing. It's pointless. For what? I've come to terms with who he is, and I can honestly God say I'm okay with that. Even if I tried to.
If you were not to see him tomorrow.
I don't think that there's anything that I would honestly regret. He's just not that. If I tell him, he's like, "No, te hablo para atrás, te hablo para atrás." Like, even if I try to start that door, he shuts it down fast. Yeah. Every time he calls, he's like, "¿Qué estás haciendo?" "Nada, trabajando." "Igual que su papá, trabajadora." And I'm like, "No, igual que mi mamá." "Nah, sweetie, nah, no es así. ¿Qué estás haciendo?" "I just told you I'm working." So yes, he's in denial. So I just feel like it would be a pointless conversation.
But let's say that it wasn't.
Well, I've attempted, and he says that I was young, I don't remember.
What did you tell him?
Because he never gave my mom child support. My poor mother did it all on her own. And so he was like, "No, es que te mandé dinero, tu mamá no te lo dio, lo estaba pagando la casa." And I'm like, okay. So it's just an excuse. And I guess I can be hard-headed. And I'm like, I don't have time for excuses, dude. I've already tried a couple of times. There was one time where he did actually come to the house, and he tried to give us money. And I was like, "I don't want your money." I think it was maybe 12. I said, "I don't want your money." And I threw it at him, and I closed the door in his face.
Do you resent him for that? For what he did?
I think I did. I don't think that I do anymore, because it's molded me to be the mom that I am. It's really helped me. Look, if I've slept under stairs and been kidnapped, like, why can't I do something else? Like, there's nothing that I can't do.
What would your mom say?
She kind of talks about it, but she kind of apologizes. It's not...
She apologizes for him? Or
because
for what?
That's who my dad is. But you met him, you guys fell in love, you had 2 kids. You can't... It's not your fault. Like, that's just who he is. That's who he wasn't like that. According to my mom, he wasn't like that until after they got married. Like, literally the second they got married, all of a sudden a switch went off, and he just 360'd on her. So that's not your fault. You shouldn't be sorry for that. That's just who he is. Like, you can't change that.
Did your mom ever remarry?
She did. I had a stepdad. He was in the Marines for a long time. He raised us, and substance abuse again. So they parted their ways.
And how was that with you? I mean, if he raised you, what kind of ambiente tenías?
Well, it wasn't until the end, the very, very end. And at that point, I already had the boys. I was moved out. Yeah, I was way older. So I definitely respect him for everything. I would never discredit him. He definitely was there, I think, since I was like 5. So he was there for a very long time. He helped my mom come out of the mental institution when my father kidnapped us. So he did a lot.
So your mom went to a mental institution? For how long?
From what she said, 6 months. Because she went crazy looking for us. So she, like, literally went crazy. So he helped her get through all that. He helped her get a house. I would never resent him for that. He got into a car accident, and they prescribed pain pills, and so I see why it happened, but I don't resent you for that. I respect everything that he did for us. He did a lot for us. A lot.
So it seems like your mom went through a lot during her relationships.
And this is only what I know. I can only imagine.
Have you talked to her about it? Like
No.
how she felt? Because as a daughter, I feel like it hurts you to see your mom going through stuff like that.
Yeah, and I've told her and she's cried a couple of times, but we've never really like dug in deep to it. Only because from what I've learned in school and college, substance abuse is hereditary. So instead of being able to have that relationship with my mom, my sister, same pattern, fell into substance abuse. And so I just let her try to help my sister while I said, hey, I'm never, that's never going to be me. I will never fall into that life. I can't, I've been surrounded by it and I see how much damage comes with that lifestyle and those choices. And I can't do that.
So do you have a good relationship with your sister?
No. She started taking Xanax, I think when she was like 13. And at that time I was a junior. I graduated really early. And I would tell her, hey, we got to go home from school, or we got to be to school on time. And because I had a car at 15. So I was 15, she was 14. And I'll never forget, one day she went to open the laundry room door and she fell. And I was like, what is wrong with you? What, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, dude, I'm just tired. And I was like, yeah, you're not tired. And so I brought it to my mom's attention and it kind of just progressed from there. Honestly, I don't even know if she graduated high school. Like,
When was the last time you talked to her?
the last time I talked to her, so at the time, oh my God, my family's gonna hate me for this. Whatever. At the time, because we don't really talk about it, we just pretend like it didn't happen type thing. Whatever. Everybody in my family knows that I'm the person that doesn't really care. So my sister he was 6 months old, my nephew, and my mom took custody of him because somebody knocked on her door and said, I don't know where your sister's at, but here's her son. And I was like, his pamper was literally like crumbled. He hadn't ate in I don't even know how long. And so my mom had custody of him. And one day my mom called me because she, like a mom, she tried to help my sister get better several times. And my sister was at her house. And my mom said, the school just called. Your nephew didn't make it to school. Can you go to the house and go check on him? Absolutely. That was another benefit about bartending. I was able to do anything I wanted to do during the day. I was available. So I went to my mom's house and he was asleep on the couch with his backpack on. And I was like, baby, you missed the bus. And he was like, oh, I did. I didn't make it to school. Can you take me? And I was like, it's already too late. Just come to my house. I'll make you something to eat. Just come hang out. So I took him to my house. When he woke up, my sister was asleep at my mom's and she was like, what the? It was just screaming. And had my nephew in my hands. And she was like, I'm going to beat your... And I said, you can do what you want to do. But I'm taking your son because he needs to eat. Nothing that you did wrong. He needs to eat. And she tried to fight me. And I was like, I'm not going to fight you. I have your son in your hands. So I left. Not even 30 minutes later, I get a call from the cops. Where are you at? And I was like, I'm at my house. Where's your nephew? Did you take him to school? I did not. You told his mother that you were taking him to school. And I was like, well, his mother doesn't have custody of him. My mother does. And the cop said, you need to bring him back now or you're going to go to jail for kidnap. You have an hour. And I was like, what? Like, you literally called the cops on me that I kidnapped your son? I did not kidnap him. Again, when you fall into that substance abuse pattern, it's kind of hard to distinguish right from wrong. So I had to take him back and the cops were waiting for me. And when they were taking him out of my arms, he was grabbing me and he's like, Tia, don't let them take me. Tia, don't let them take me. I don't want to be with my mom. And I told the officer, like, you can clearly see the problem here, right? And he said, because you're not his legal guardian, the mother has more rights than you do. And unfortunately, I have to give him to his mom. So he literally ripped my nephew out of my arms and handed it to my sister. And I did not talk to her after that. She's changed the last year, maybe. And she tries to talk to me, but
You're not ready. Or you don't want to.
You could have ruined my life because of your problems. I mean, I also had custody of her daughter for about a year. Same patterns, same thing all over again. So CPS did give her back to my sister. I can't. And her excuses, well, it's Dad's fault. Dad abandoned us. We have the same mom and we have the same dad. We have the same 24 hours in a day. You made your choices and I made mine. And I mean, we've tried to help you so many times. There's only so many times where I can try. I can't ever forgive you for that. I literally could have went to jail for kidnap. Like, that could have ruined my entire life.
Cash, see, this is a story that I didn't know about your family or your life. And I hope your family doesn't hate you.
They won't.
No, I hope not. But from what I hear, and it takes a lot for someone to go through all of this. And it also seems as if you've been the person to take on a lot of these events, struggles, everything that your family has gone through, but you're such a strong person.
You have no choice. Like, literally, we were literally sleeping under stairs. Like, literally sleeping under stairs. I mean, how much worse can it be?
How is, you're very strong. So now, we can tell. But how is that, when does it come about you? Like, you do have a choice. You have a choice. You made a choice because look at where you're at. You mentioned you've been poor.
Absolutely.
Which is where I'm at now. You had a choice. You did that. You're so strong that you probably didn't even realize. Look, going back, oh, ya pasó, no pasa nada. No pasa nada, people. I got this. But you're like, it keeps on being, when do you not have it? There has to be a time that tienes tanto peso encima, so much weight on your shoulders, because I feel like maybe a lot of people depend on you and you don't want to let them down.
I think real estate made that feeling go away, because at the time bartending, it was hard. And there was a time we went to the grocery store and it had like $52 or $56. And it's because I was also transitioning from being with their father. He was super financially responsible. So I never had to worry about those things. The house was in his name. His credit was up to par. I was never taught those things. So I didn't know. And so when I moved into my apartment on my own, I was like, oh my God, where's all my money? Like, I'm making a lot of money bartending. Where is it at? It's just blowing it on just BS. And so there was a time where I was like, I work tomorrow night. I'll have the money for the groceries tomorrow. But then I got in trouble at work because I was best friends with somebody who got in trouble. And because we're best friends, I'm responsible for his actions. And I was like, how's that even fair? What am I going to do? I'm not the owner of the club. I can't just go to work. Like he said, you can't work. So now I'm screwed. I only have $52 or $56. And I was like, okay, worst case scenario, we can pay like the car late, but I have to pay groceries. Like my kids have to eat. And I didn't have enough. And so I had to take food out. And I was like, I'm my dad. You have to change your ways, because I was going out a little more than I should have because I was bartending, and it was a whole life that I didn't know. I didn't go out like that. So I said, you can't be your dad. You have to change. And from that day forward, I would put X amount of dollars, whatever the rent was, I divided it by the days that I worked for the week. And I would put that separate. So at the end of the month, I made sure that I had money for groceries, car note, and bills. And I promised myself to do better. It's not just me. I have 2 kids who can't do anything for themselves, and I don't want them sleeping under stairs like I did. So I made sure to never be in that position ever again.
And you're not. And you won't ever
thankfully.
be. And you're not,
Thankfully.
and you will never be. But how, going back to that life, how do you feel now?
Oh my God, this is where I'm going to cry. So actually the other day, and I know material things don't matter, like name brands, they don't matter. But at that time, I would see people around me like a Gucci bag or a Louis bag. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had money for that, right? Now I'm like, ni lo quiero. What do I need that for? I don't need that. If I wanted, I could buy it. So to know that it went from idolizing that to now like, I want it, I can get it. It's like, this was literally maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I was looking at a bag that was like $5,000. And I was like, I literally told Marty, babe, holy shit. I'm literally looking at this bag like, I don't want it anymore. Like, what? Why? I guess because it just happened so fast. Like, how did I get to this point to where I can even think about buying that instead of like, some people don't even make $5,000 in a month. What did you do? And this was literally just the other day. And I said, that's so crazy how my life has completely 360'd. Yeah, it's definitely humbling because you just get caught up with work and life. I don't see that yet. And I guess that was like a reality check or a slap in the face, like, hey, wake up. And I was like, oh my God, wow, I've done a lot.
It feels great.
Yeah, I didn't buy the bag.
Because you didn't buy it, but you accomplished a lot. And just with that, it tells you how much you work. I mean, I know how hard you work. And sometimes work can get the best of us because you don't even realize how much you're struggling until you're like, wow, I went through all of this, que ya ni se me, doesn't faze me anymore. But because you've been so busy, do you think that you're just putting it under the rug and eventually like it's gonna
Probably. Probably one day, because being a mom is just, for me, it's very time consuming because our schedule's a little more flexible. My kids don't know, and I was just telling somebody this today. My kids don't know mom working an 8 to 5. Like, they don't know waking up, having to get on the bus. They don't know taking the bus home, walking in the rain. They don't know that life. So it was like, maybe when they start to...
Because your kids have everything.
Yes, they're spoiled. Well, they do, but I don't give them what they want. So I think once it comes to where they're being like independent on their own, then I'm going to be like, wow, I really made, because they know, they know. Mom, buy me this. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not giving that to you. You have to give me a reason to give that to you. I'm not going to just hand you money like that. It's just not going to happen. So they know the struggle. So I think probably once I graduate, I'm probably going to be like, well, what do I do now? And it's going to hit me because I'm going to have time to myself. I'm going to have a clear mind. I'm not going to worry about taking them snacks. Mom, where are you at? Are you at home? No.
But then you have the little one too, so not really.
Yeah, but he's little. He doesn't know the difference. He doesn't know.
You have a little break in between.
Maybe.
What are your non-negotiables with your kids? Because again, you came from a household where you struggled, where you didn't have what you have now, where you didn't even think you would ever probably have what you have now. What are your non-negotiables with your kids, and saying, how do you keep them from not thinking that they're just going to have everything handed to them, or enabling them?
I bought them one cell phone. They have that same phone. I'm not going to buy you another phone. Oh, but it's just, then you just go make the $1,000. Like, the phone's $1,000. So as an adult, I can say, oh my God, $5,000 for a purse, let me get it. But as a child, for my children to think that it's just $1,000, make it. If it's just $1,000, go make the $1,000 then. My son washed cars for maybe one weekend, and he was like, that was the hardest work I've ever had to do. And I said, now wake up and do that every day. He was like, I don't want to do it anymore. So you had 1 weekend of work, and all of a sudden you're done. I'm not buying you a new phone. They have my old car, my Camry, my little Cam. I had that Camry for maybe 10 years. I will not buy you a new car. I'm just not going to do it. And when they were like, Mom, can you get me a Gucci backpack? Mm-mm. But you have it. I also have a job. You don't. Go get it. If it's just this much, then go get it. So they've actually came to me with business plans on how they're going to be millionaires at 19. Don't set a timeline, because I feel like when your goal, totally down for it. They want to open car washes, open commercial shopping strips. And I'm like, I'm totally down with that goal. It's very achievable. What's not achievable is by 19. There's just no way. And if you set that goal for 19, you're going to fail. And that's going to probably reflect on every decision you make thereafter. So don't set a timeline. Sometimes life throws you surprises. As long as you do it. And I tell them all the time, I'm 38 years old. Oh my God, I just admitted that. I'm 38 years old, and I'm just now getting to the point to where we're good. If you set a timeline, you're going to fail. Just let life play out and continue little bit by little bit, contribute to your goal. So
What are your next goals?
To build, just continue, like physically, literally building homes. Continue building homes.
Has that been hard for you?
No. And the first one was scary. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Who? That's all you need is just one. After the first one, you're good to go. Good to go.
Now, let me ask you this. How do you think you would act or handle a situation if your kids came with drugs to your household?
My children are very open with me since they were little, because I didn't have that. So my father was just my father, and my mother was focused on my sister, which I understand. I probably would be in that same situation as well. So it was kind of just me. Just little me by myself. And so with them, it's very important for me for them to communicate with me. So if I notice that they're off or they have an attitude, I'll ask them, what's wrong? There's been 100 times, nothing, man, just leave me alone. We're not leaving until you tell me. And so they know when I'm being serious and then when I'm not. So when it comes to drugs and things that are happening in school, they're very honest with me. And I can't sit here and tell you, don't do it. They're going to do it. Why not? So I've taught them what each drug can do to you. They know what it looks like. They're very well informed. And I think because they've firsthand witnessed the substance abuse problems in the family. And not even that, we went to Colombia and there was a guy, we went to a park where there's all these big statues, and it's a famous park. And the boys saw people on the side of the sidewalk shooting up. And they were traumatized. My son was so mad at me. Why would you take me here? You let me see this. And I'm like, I didn't know. Coming to a park, that's what was going to be outside. How was I supposed to know that? He was traumatized. I don't think he talked for like 3 hours. He was just traumatized. So I think because they've seen firsthand so much substance abuse that they're a little more like, no, that's not what I want to do. But if they ever say, hey, Mom, what if one day I wanted to try shrooms? Let's research.
I don't even know what that is.
Hi, amiga. It's mushrooms. They grow in cow's poop. And if you eat them, it's a psychedelic. So he's like,
wow.
and my son's like, what if it's organic? And I'm like, yeah, organic. So we teach them, like, hey, this is what can happen. This is what, and from what they've told me, I think that they're pretty good.
Good. I'm
Yes.
glad. Cash, one question for you. If you were to die tomorrow, what would be your biggest fear?
Making sure my kids make the right choices. Because I'll come and haunt you. Like, what the hell are you
You're gonna
doing?
be
I didn't
dead.
teach you this.
I mean, you're going to be... Vas a estar en el cielo.
That's what I tell them all the time. What if I died? What if I died tomorrow? When I get mad, I'm pretty dramatic. What if I died? Would I be okay with that? Well, you're not gonna die. Don't say that. No, I drive a lot. Literally, we drive all day long. That's part of our job, and I see accidents all day long. Like literally, what if I get hit and I die? So we've talked about. I don't think I have fears. Just making sure that you make the right choices. Just dear God, make the right choices.
But are you like prepared because tienes 3 hijos y tienes tu esposa? O sea, si te estás preparada como por si algo llega a pasar, que tus hijos estén bien cuidados, that they be well taken care of.
I believe so. Their dad's a good role model. He's a good dad. He's very active in their life, and he's crazy as it sounds, a lot more strict than I am. So I think that they're in good hands. Definitely, they have a big support system.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing because coming from someone that didn't have that support system, that's great.
It is.
And I bet you it makes you feel great about it.
Yeah, I would definitely, like if God forbid I went to jail for 10 years, I know that their dad, he's good. They're good.
You'll have good co-parenting
Yes.
skills.
Yes. I don't know how people don't, that has to be hard.
But you do also have a big family with your wife. And y'all love having family events. And, you know, I think that's how your whole life also changed in the 360 way because you came from not having a strong foundation of a family to having one with your wife. And I'm pretty sure like that compensates all of the bad stuff that happened in the past.
We have a good relationship with my mom's side of the family. It's so small. Like literally here, it's just 2 tias. That's it. Just 2 little tias and 2 cousins and their kids. It's just super tiny. Versus my wife's family, it's like I don't freaking know, 200 deep. So it's a big family. So you do get that, and it's just different. My mom's white. They're Colombian, so it's completely different. Food choices, holidays, the time the holidays are celebrated, it's just completely different.
Is there like a culture clash between y'all?
No.
Are you fully white?
My mom's white, my dad's from Guatemala.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, I just like my, no offense, Hispanic side better. No offense. It's just I waitressed for a very long time, so I was around the cooks. I had to speak Spanish. We have the Mexican music or the Spanish music playing in the background. Then bartending, all the bar backs, they're literally from Guatemala. So it's just because of the jobs that I've had, and I've just gravitated towards that more than the Caucasian side of me. Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. I love
Gosh,
it.
well, I'd like to know, how did you feel? When did you start real estate?
2019.
2019.
Barely.
And when did you sell your first $1 million home?
Last year. Last year?
How was that?
Ironically, it was with somebody that I worked with when I was waitressing. So to see the growth in that person, it was wow.
Tell us.
Well, I don't want to say
No, don't say
person's
name.
or
Don't say names.
what they did. But to see like, dude, I saw you saw me, we were on the same pay scale. And now to see that you can comfortably buy this home, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And that's another lesson I try to tell everybody, treat everybody equally because You never know. Literally, this person worked with me at Wings and More, and now they're buying, it was an almost $2 million home. Like, you never know later on in life when somebody's going to come back and be like, hey, remember me? Like, everybody gets the same.
Literal, así te dijo.
Yeah. He actually called and he's like, Casimira. I said, what's up? He was like, quiero comprar una casa. And I was like, all right, cool. Where at? And he said the subdivision. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Really? He was like, yeah, it costs blah, blah, blah dollars. And I was like,
So you thought he was playing?
yes, because it was just something that kind of like me with the purse. He just casually said, yeah, it costs blah. And I was like, do you realize the amount of money that you just told me? It costs blah? Like, how do you, it's just amazing to see that. Like, wow, it was pretty cool.
Did you tell him? Did you talk about it? Tell him how proud of
Absolutely.
him you were?
Absolutely. I cried. I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Like, he's like, pues usted también. Like, no, dude, I'm not buying a $2 million house. But wow, yeah.
Yet.
I don't think I would want a house that big.
No.
It's big. It's big. That's too much home for me. I'd rather travel.
And then that wasn't the first one because you sold another one at the beginning of this year.
Yes.
And how was that? I mean, you went, and here's one thing that I want people to know and that I truly, truly admire about you, honestly, and I think I've told you this before. Cash doesn't care to get you a lease, doesn't care to get you a $150,000 home, doesn't absolutely care. She will take on any buyer, seller, lead. You don't care getting leads either. Like, to you, you just, hey, let's go, let's do it. And I love that about you because it speaks a lot of who you are. Eres humilde. Eres una persona humilde que sabe lo que se batalla. And I feel like you do it because you want to make a change in people's life, regardless of what they are, what they have.
I have other agents like, you're wasting your time on a rental, but it's not, obviously the money follows, right? But when I have a friend that calls and says, Cash, this is going to be my first house and I need to rent it. It's like, how do you tell them, ew, I don't do rentals? Like, you can't. I can't do that. I can't do that. And so even though sometimes they're an hour drive, I can't tell you no because I see that excitement. And so I kind of vibe off of that and I absorb your energy. And if you're excited, come on, I'm just as equally excited. And honestly, sometimes because rentals, ironically, are harder than buying, sometimes you don't even profit off of it after gas and easy tag and the time. I'm driving an hour and a half. There's no financial gain, but it's just that emotional thing. Like when you're so excited and you send me a text message, oh my God, thank you so much. I know that it's just a rental, but you really helped me. I'm like, oh, you're welcome. I can't say no. There's just no way.
I absolutely love it. It's that feeling that you help them. You know, you help them. And sometimes they can become buyers.
Yes, they can.
And they have.
And they should. They should. But I mean,
because you prepare them too.
Well, sometimes I have friends who do rentals and they just say that they're not ready at that point in life for that commitment. Cool. Keep reading. Like, I'm never going to force you. I'm never going to try to convince you or say, hey, why you rent? Let's buy instead. Whatever you're comfortable with, let's do it. But I do, try to say, obviously, if you buy a house, there's equity in the long run and you'll appreciate that. But if you're not ready, I'm never going to force you. Whenever you're ready, let's go.
Is that the best part about real estate, or what's the best part about real estate?
I definitely wouldn't. People always think that you just have your own schedule. No, you don't. I literally work from like 7 to sometimes 3 in the morning. It's definitely not your own schedule. It has to be that joy that they get.
How do you do it?
I don't know. A bunch of coffee. I don't know.
Like, what time do you go to sleep and what time do you wake up?
It just depends on the day. Like, my wife tells me all the time, stop sleeping with your laptop next to you. And I'm like, well, it's because I have to send an email. And then I fall asleep. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, shit, I got to send an email. I should stop doing that, but I don't. But the days are usually different. It's for sure not before midnight. I don't think I'm ever going to sleep before midnight. And I wake up when the baby wakes up, 7:30.
When is it going to be that time where you do give yourself when do you give yourself some you time? Because it's always you, your kids, your wife. Do you have your cash time?
No, that's boring. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be by myself. If I'm by myself, literally, I'll call my couple friends. I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Let's go eat. Just talk to me. Just talk to I can't. Being by myself, I don't like it. No. I don't like it. Mm-mm.
Is it because you felt like you were by yourself before?
Maybe. I just prefer to, I don't know. We're out by ourselves in the car all the time.
I feel like you're probably calling your clients at that time.
Well, sometimes.
Listening to music.
Yes. See, that's your alone time.
Listening
that's
to
good.
podcasts.
I've never listened to podcasts.
You haven't?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Is there somebody that you follow or that it's inspiring to you?
This is going to sound corny at Wizzy One. Yes. I know it's going to sound fake, like whatever, but because I knew her in middle school. So I knew her in middle school. And then when I saw she was doing real estate, I had tried prior to getting married to my wife. I just wasn't in the right mind space. I was in a toxic relationship. There was just no way I could have handled being an agent. And at the time I was mad. I'm glad that it didn't work out at that time because I wouldn't have gave my clients the time and energy that they needed. So I reached out to Yvonne one day and I was like, hey, how do I become an agent? She literally said, don't quit your day job. Don't do it. And I was like, what do you mean don't do it? And I'm not the type of person to crawl in a corner. This is what I tell my kids every day. Either you can sit in the corner and cry about it. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to know. Or you can go outside and you can raise hell. So I was like, oh yeah, Yvonne, I can't do it. Watch me, bitch. Watch me do this. And I know that sounds stupid because now we work together, right? She's my broker. But it's like, what if she didn't tell me that? Would I have still been so determined to like, we come from the same place. I'm going to do it too. Yeah. And then
she gave you that fire.
Ironically, here we are working together.
Hey, but that's good because, again, you needed that push and gracias a ella, puedes darle las gracias decir, dime otra vez que no puedo para enseñarte. And not only that, she's our top producer, guys, every single year since you started.
Thankfully.
But I'm pretty sure that she didn't mean it in a bad way. Honestly, during those times, now we probably say, quit your day job because you need to give it to full time. But she doesn't mean any harm. She didn't mean any harm. Discúlpala.
No, it was good. And I understand why she said that. I can't be mad at her. The image was bleached blonde hair, red lipstick, low cut shirts because I was bartending. So I see.
Used to.
I see why.
Never judge a book by its cover. We've said that a lot because it does happen, especially in real estate. I've had comments come to me that would say, who's that? Because you have, tattoos and stuff. What do you mean who's that? She's one of our agents. ¿Qué tiene? She's like, and they don't know that you're like our top producer. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know this person. Why are you even saying anything?
And I love it. I love that because
I just don't like that. It bothers me when people, without knowing you, have that judgment like to, ¿qué te importa? If they knew who you were, and because, again, I know how much you work, and just because of the fact that, seriously, you don't say no to Elise, that just gives me every type of vibes with you because it's like, dude, I just don't like it. To me, it's unfair. It's unfair that they come and could say all these mean things about somebody that they haven't had the opportunity to talk to and get to know you. That's my problem sometimes.
It literally does not bother me. Ironically, when I go to showings, I definitely don't look like what I look like on Instagram. And I think that that's another reason probably why my clients relate to me a little more because I don't think that I could personally work with somebody if I wasn't an agent who was always in a suit and heels. I would be so intimidated. Like, that's not my life. I'm in tights and hoodies all day long because it's just convenient. We go from picking up the kids to school to track meets to football games. And I don't want to go to that at the end of the day in heels. My feet are tired. So if I constantly saw a girl, hair done, makeup on, nails kept up, nice bags, fancy cars, and dressed up, I'd be like, I don't think you understand me then. Are you really working for what I really want? And so when my clients meet me, I have bun on, hoodies, tights. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My son had football practice today. I did not have time to go home and change. And most of them are like, oh, don't worry about it. My son just had soccer practice. So I think because on Instagram, people are like, oh, you're nothing how I thought you were going to be. I'm like, I'm just a normal person. It's just with the filter. Just make me skinny on Instagram. But at the end of the day, you all go home and we put our pajamas on. Like, I don't care if you have tattoos. I don't care who's laying next to you in your bed. It's not my business. I don't really care. So I think I really just don't care if
It
somebody
doesn't bother you.
at all.
It doesn't face you, pretty much.
No, my kids still eat. Bills are still paid. We're good.
And that's good. That's good that because for some people it does take all of the energy just to be like, or start to want to change just to have that different image of what people or what a real estate agent should look like, I guess.
Well, so in 7th grade, I lived in like a little neighborhood. It was like 2 streets. And it was right on the border of where Pasadena schools were zoned to and Sam Rayburn. Sam Rayburn was a little more on the Caucasian side and a little more money than the people in Pasadena. And I always would lie. Oh, my mom's going to give me that too. Oh, yeah, I have that at home too. And so I knew like, okay, these kids in school have this and I don't have it. So I knew that financially there was definitely a disconnect. And I remember lying so much about pretending to be rich. And I was like, man, after I went to Pasadena, as crazy as it sounds, I felt so much more comfortable. And I was like, maybe it's not even because you don't know what the kids in Pasadena, you don't know what their parents have going on, but the vibe was just different. There was nobody showing off. Everybody was just chill. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. I should have been here a long time ago. Why haven't I been going to these Pasadena schools? Why are we going to school with all these other people? So I told myself, don't lie. If you lie one time, you have to keep going. And it just got so draining to lie. And I just literally freshman year, I was like, I like this. This is refreshing. I know nobody in this school. My kids tell me all the time, you're a loser, because I would sit outside. I literally knew nobody. I would sit outside and eat my lunch by myself every day. Hot Cheetos and a sandwich every day. And I was okay with that because it was just so different from me trying to pretend to be somebody. Like, dude, I've been kidnapped. I was living under stairs, so many other things. Why am I trying to be like you? You do not connect with me. Let me just be me. Even if I'm by myself on the little bench outside, let me just be me.
Aquí yo solita. Solita me veo más bonita. I love it. What would you want followers to get from you from this? What is one piece of advice you'd give them that you wish somebody gave you?
I just feel like timelines are so unrealistic. And don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Literally, don't let, whether it's just anything in life, don't let tell somebody you can't do it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I just don't have the money and I have kids that I feel like it's so much easier now to make money than when I was a single mom because we have Uber Eats, we have DoorDash. There's so many opportunities. And even though you're tired from your full-time job, just two days a week might give you that little bit that you need to get to where you need to go. I don't like excuses. And you can do it. I have a wife. I have tattoos. I'm a woman. I was not come from the best background or financially stable background. There's no reason why can't you? Stop focusing on why can't, because, well, what can you do to fix that? And that's what I tell my kids all the time. Why aren't you? There's no excuse. Like, there's no reason.
You definitely don't believe in excuses.
No. I'm a little intense.
You're not intense. It's good. It's good to have that. And it's good that your kids have that support system. Regardless, aunque digas tú,
they hate it.
They're going to have it. They're going to have it. Aunque,
oh, absolutely.
Even if they, kids are not perfect. And I'm sure you're going to have, in your family, you're going to have your ups and downs. But at the end of the day, mom is there. And
they know
she's
that.
always going to be there.
Yeah.
Because you are pretty strong. Your words are pretty strong with I've seen you. Again, you have no filter.
Oh, no. And that's another thing. I cuss a lot. And my kids would tell me, why do you cuss so much? You shouldn't do that. You're a girl.
Because you piss me off.
Mm-hmm. I actually went to school for psychology.
Did you?
I just know that if I would have been a psychologist, I would not have been able to emotionally detach myself from your clients. Like, how do you do that? How do you have somebody coming in crying and you don't want to help them? So in those classes, I learned that people who tend to be the most outspoken and vulgar are usually the most honest, pure people. So I tell them all the time, shut the hell up. It's because I'm honest. I'm pure. You're lucky you have me.
¿Qué dices malagradecidos?
No, they're getting good. Teenagers are not easy, but they're getting better.
Aw, well, Cash, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. See, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. You were so nervous.
I didn't use it. I thought I was going to cry.
Great job. Great job. No, you did good. See, and again, this is what this platform is all about. Just opening up. Open up to your life. It doesn't always have to be just about work. So I'm glad that you were able to come here. And I know one of her biggest pet peeves is being late. So I'm sorry because I was late.
48 minutes late.
It wasn't my intention, guys. But it always happens. So, perdóname la vida, pero de veras, thank you so much for being with us today. You out there now get to see she's not just a strong, powerful woman. She's had her background, but she didn't take no for an answer, and it motivated, it pushed her to her limits, and she continues to push herself. So for that, know that we are rooting for you. I love your work ethic, your integrity, your personality itself. And I know you're going to go to major, major places in life. And I hope, even if you're not with us here in the brokerage, but wherever you go, we're always going to be rooting for you. And I hope you know that.
Thank you, Rosie, for allowing me to have this platform to speak, and hopefully it's gonna help somebody grow and change and not accept no.
Not accept no for an answer. Nope. There you have it. For all of you followers, I hope you enjoyed this segment. Thank you so much for watching. Don't miss the next No Pasa Nada, people. Remember that no matter what life throws at you, there's always a next day to make things better for everyone else, everyone around you, and you yourself too. Have a great one, and I'll see you on the next No Pasa Nada, people.
Oh. I was waiting for you.